I want to talk about some free agents with you guys, okay? Make sure you guys smash that like button. You guys are tuned in to Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. I want to talk to you guys about some upcoming Eagles free agents. We know off the top of our head, there's a lot of guys who are going to be priorities. Who are going to be priorities, right? So let's check this out here. As of right now, upcoming Eagles free agents include Josh Sweat, who's 27 years old, Brandon Graham, edge or DN, 36 years old, Zack Baun, 28 years old, linebacker, Mekhi Becton, guard, 25 years old, Avonte Maddox, corner, 28 years old, CJ Uzoma, tight end, 32 years old, Milton Williams, D tackle, 25 years old, LaRaven Clark, tackle, 31 years old, Rick Lovato, long snapper, 32 years old, Fred Johnson, tackle, 27 years old, Orin Burks, linebacker, 29 years old, Jack Driscoll, guard, 27 years old, Nick Gates, center, 29 years old, Isaiah Rodgers, corner, 27 years old, Britton Covey, receiver, 27 years old, Kenneth Gainwell, running back, 25 years old, Ben Van Sumeren, linebacker, 24 years old. All right, so we had to discuss our priorities here, right? We had to discuss our priorities. So for me, number one priority, Zack Baun. Zack Baun, in my opinion, is the number one priority this offseason. Let me tell you why. Because it's significantly more difficult to find a linebacker as effective as Zack Baun than it is to find a defensive lineman as effective as Milton Williams or Josh Sweat. And hear me out. This is me not trying to say I'm not trying to say Milton Williams is expendable or just replaceable, right? I'm not trying to say Josh Sweat is expendable or just replaceable. I'm not trying to diminish those gentlemen. But when you think about how deep this draft class is in terms of defensive linemen, when you think about the Philadelphia Eagles drafting Moro Ojomo 2 seasons ago or last season out of Texas, who's proven that he's an effective pass rusher and effective in run defense. The Eagles drafted Moro Ojomo to hedge their bet in the event they can't bring back Milton Williams. Just how they drafted Nolan Smith to hedge their bet if they can't bring back Hassan Reddick at a reasonable price. As much as I love Milton Williams and how dominant he's been, he's priced himself out. Milton Williams will not be affordable for the Philadelphia Eagles based off of everything I think they should do. Milton Williams is going to command north of $20 million a season. As a matter of fact, I want to give you guys an idea of what these defensive tackles are making in the NFL. I'm going to give you guys an idea. Let's just stay on Milton Williams for a little while. because I want to make sure you guys understand where I'm coming from with this. I want you guys to really see where I'm coming from with this. So I want you guys to look at some of these contracts that defensive tackles are getting. Look at these average salaries. Hold on, this damn ad, man. All right. Look at these average salaries. Check this. This is the salary rankings for D tackles in the NFL. Just check this out. Chris Jones, $31.7 million. Christian Wilkins, $27.5 million. Nnamdi Madubuike for Baltimore, $24.5 million. Aleem McNeil, who was actually in the same draft class as Milton Williams, $24.2 million. Derek Brown, Carolina Panthers, $24 million. Quinyon Williams, $24 million. Jeffrey Simmons, $23.5 million. DeForest Buckner, $23 million. Jerron Payne, $22.5 million. Dexter Lawrence, $21.8 million. Kenny Clark, $21.3 million. Javon Hargrave, $21 million. Christian Barrymore, $20.7 million. Jonathan Allen, $18 million. Vita Vea, $17.7 million. Ed Oliver, $17 million. Grady Jarrett, $16.8 million. Milton Williams, with how he's played over the course of this season, he had 2 sacks in the Super Bowl. He had 5 sacks over the course of the NFL season at the defensive tackle position. He's a tackle for loss machine. He can defend the run. He's versatile. He's really athletic, sideline to sideline. He's a violent pass rusher. Milton Williams is going to command north of $20 million easily. Defensive tackles are getting wide receiver money. So it's going to be really difficult to retain a guy like Milton Williams. Hence why I believe Howie Roseman drafted Moro Ojomo and also traded for former Las Vegas Raider D tackle Byron Young. And you also still got Thomas Booker IV. Howie Roseman has hedged his bet at the D tackle position. And don't be surprised if they draft another guy, be it in the first or second round. So I'm telling you, the way Milton Williams has played, the way he's developed, do not be surprised. Do not be surprised if he gets more than $20 million. Yeah. Defensive tackles are getting paid like wide receivers, y'all. Yes. Melly J says, damn, I didn't know they was getting that type of bag. Yeah. Yeah. Q-Biz. Exactly. It's going to be cheaper to keep Zack Baun. It may be cheaper to keep Josh Sweat. Q says the only problem is Detroit, the Commanders, or the 49ers may get Milton and Jarrett. Milton and Garrett, excuse me. Well, it all depends. It all depends. But Josh Sweat has earned himself some big money too. So let's move on to Josh Sweat, right? Because again, I think Zack Baun should be the priority. You want to know why? He's going to be cheaper than those guys, and he's going to stabilize your defense. He's cheaper, and his value may be equal to, if not more valuable than those guys in the Eagles defense. If I'm the Philadelphia Eagles, my goal is Zack Baun and Mekhi Becton. That's my goal. Zack Baun and Mekhi Becton. because you can get Mekhi Becton on a reasonable deal. You see, it's about value, right? It's about value. And let's look at some of these contracts for edge rushers, right? Nick Bosa, $34 million. Joshua Hines Allen, $28.2 million. Brian Burns, $28 million or $28.2. TJ Watt, $28 million. Myles Garrett, $25. Danielle Hunter, $24.5. Montez Sweat, $24.5. Rashawn Gary, $24 million. Max Crosby, $23.5. Bradley Chubb, $22 million. Leonard Williams, $21.5. Trey Hendrickson, $21. Joey Bosa, $20.1. Von Miller, $20. See, I think Josh Sweat is probably going to command between Josh Sweat will probably get between 17 and 20 million. He may get between 17 and 20 million. Why they got Fred Warner on as an edge? That's strange. Anyway, I think Josh Sweat may get between 17 and 20 million. He may. But maybe between 16 and 19. You're going to lose Josh Sweat. You're going to lose Milton Williams. I would be shocked. If Harry Roseman found a way to keep if they could keep Milton Williams and Josh Sweat. That Super Bowl performance, 2.5 sacks in the Super Bowl for Josh Sweat, 2 sacks in the Super Bowl for Milton Williams. They're gone. I just have a hard time believing they're back here. But Zack Baun, when you think about what his position is getting, let's get to linebacker. Let's get there. Linebacker. See, this off-ball linebacker shit is mixed in with the edge rusher, so it's kind of confusing. But this is what we got to really compare it to, really. Zack Baun could command between, let's see here. He's an all-pro, first-team all-pro, Super Bowl champion. He was in the run. He was a defensive player. He was a defensive player of the year finalist. Oof. The contracts for linebacker get a little weird because now you're trying to figure out what a guy does. The edge rushers are mixed in with the linebackers. The inside linebacker contracts are mixed in with the off-ball linebackers. I think Zack Baun is going to get between 10 to 15. I think Zack Baun gets between 10 to 15 million. He's not getting 20. He's not getting 20. You want to know why? Because although I think you're more likely to see Zack Baun get something in between these two numbers. You may see Zack Baun get around what Patrick Queen got. You really may see that. Because again, you got to keep in mind, Zack Baun has only been able to do this for one season. He's only proven this over one season. You got to think about that. Yes, he's a first-team All-Pro. Yes, Super Bowl champion. But his sample size is only one season. So that's where the Eagles have leverage. That's where the Eagles have leverage. And also, because Zack Baun won a Super Bowl here, and this was the team where he got his success under Vic Fangio, the Eagles are going to find a way to keep Zack Baun. And also you have the Super Bowl as leverage. Why would he want to leave a team like this? Why would he want to leave a team like this? You got to think about that. You got to think about that. Sometimes when it comes to these players, it's not always about the money. It's going to also be about what situation allows me to be the best player I can be. What situations are going to maximize my skill set? Which situation can I win in? Which situation is going to allow me to win? TJ Edwards is not Zack Baun, no, Scotty. Scotty says we let TJ Edwards walk too. TJ Edwards and Zack Baun don't breathe the same air. TJ Edwards and Zack Baun don't breathe the same air. They don't. Let's not even pretend. Let's not pretend. Let's not pretend here. Zack Baun is going to get like maybe 15 million, maybe. Luther Winfield says, what up, Tone? The problem with Baun is how we set the floor with Huff, who was a healthy scratch in the Super Bowl. Baun and Sweat negotiations will start at minimum 15 to 60 million. I think Milton is gone. I think Sweat is gone. We may bring Baun back. I think Howie's going to make Zack Baun a priority. I don't think you let a linebacker like Baun go. Simple as that. Easy Flex says you only get one chance at a max deal. You're absolutely right, my friend. I fully expect Milton Williams to get as much he can get. I expect Josh Sweat to get as much he can get. I expect Zack Baun to try to get as much he can get, right? But I also can't pretend like the Super Bowl doesn't have any value. Being on a team like this doesn't have value. I can't sit here and pretend like it doesn't help in negotiations, because it does. Regardless, though, everyone has their opinion about how the thing is going to go. I think Howie Roseman is going to make Zack Baun a priority. I think Howie is reconciled with the fact that he's going to lose Milton Williams. I think he's reconciled with that fact. I think he's reconciled with the fact that he's going to lose Josh Sweat. And here's the thing. Howie Roseman hedged his bet. Did you guys see how Jalen Hunt came on the back end of the season? Did you guys see how Moro Ojomo played this season? Did you guys see how Jordan Davis has started to come on as a little bit of a pass rusher a little bit? And you got Jalen Carter. You got Byron Young. You're going to have to continue to develop the guys you have on your roster. And you're also going to have to draft well. I think Howie makes Zack Baun priority number one. Think about it. If Josh Sweat goes, okay, I can draft more guys, but also I got Jalen Hunt, who I've developed. Nolan Smith, who I've developed, right? If Milton Williams goes, okay, you got Jalen Carter, who you developed, Jordan Davis, who you developed. You got Moro Ojomo, who you developed, right? You got Thomas Booker IV, who you've developed. You still got Byron Young under contract, who you've been developing behind the scenes, an Alabama D tackle. And you're probably going to draft another guy. But behind Zack Baun, who do you have? Who do you have behind Zack Baun? I think Zack Baun is more valuable than Milton Williams and Josh Sweat. I think he is more valuable because there is a scarcity in what Zack Baun does in the NFL. Whereas though at D tackle, there's not. There's not. There's way more Milton Williams and Josh Sweats in the NFL than there are Zack Bauns. Would you guys agree with that? Would you guys agree with that? There's more Milton Williams and Josh Sweats in the NFL than there are Zack Bauns. Would you guys agree or disagree? Easy Flex says, I agree. Numair Jermaine says, yes. Chaotic says, yep. Looking for Sasuke. Yep. Says, facts. Eddie Bradley says, yes. Sun Monoku says, yeah, facts. S. Blunt says, and on our team, Dean is out. Exactly. Dean is out with a torn patella. We have no idea when Dean is coming back. Dean's injury has upped the value for Zack Baun. You're likely going to be starting your season with Zack Baun and Jeremiah Trotter Jr. as your starting linebackers. Sweet Chinny Music. For us, there isn't another Baun, that's for sure. The Eagles Nest says restructures just kick the cap hit down the road, and we already got a lot of cap push to 2028, 2029. Can't restructure all the money down the road. Agbar Devon says agreed. Melly J says, yeah. Reese David says Zach is a must, Tone. Bo 1990 says Zack Baun and Mekhi Becton are my resigns. Devontae says I agree 100%. Scotty the Man says Baun will be 29 in the next Super Bowl. So, Fanny the Eagles fan says facts. JDM Life says facts. Keith Ashby says Baun is in the system made for his skills. Absolutely. Scotty says Orin Burks not getting resigned. It's a possibility. Who knows? But Orin Burks has earned him some money. Here's the thing, you guys. Orin Burks, the way he played in the playoffs, Orin Burks may get a big, not big, but Orin Burks earned some money. You may lose Orin Burks because he played well in the playoffs. Everybody saw that on the national stage. Orin Burks may get a nice little 2-year, 3-year deal from somewhere for a team desperate at linebacker. Seriously. Orin Burks may get a nice little 2-year deal. He may get a nice little 2-3-year deal. The way he played in the playoffs, the way he stepped up, Orin Burks earned him some money. He earned him some money. See, you guys got to think about this. You guys got to think about it from the perspective of organizations who are desperate. You got to think about it from the perspective of organizations who need players. Free agency is when teams overpay. They're going to overpay for a guy like Zack Baun. Orin Burks. They're going to overpay for a guy like Josh Sweat. They're going to overpay for a guy like Milton Williams. And that's not saying Milton Williams, Orin Burks, or Josh Sweat didn't earn their money, but they're going to overpay for guys like that because they're desperate. It's free agency. That's why it's so important to build your team through the draft. Because if you continue to rely on free agency, you're never going to have enough money to retain players. You're never going to have enough money to sign your draft picks. You're always going to be overpaying guys. You're always going to be trying to restructure contracts. You want to build your team through the draft. So you got to think about it from the perspective of teams are going to overpay for Orin Burks and what he did in the Super Bowl, what he did in the Rams game, what he did in the Green Bay game, what he did in the Commanders game. Teams are going to overpay. Josh Sweat, teams are going to overpay for that. Milton Williams, he's going to get $20 million. He's going to get $20 million.